Captain Jake Morrison walked onto the bridge of the USS Colossus. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. The bridge was huge, bigger than most buildings back on Earth. Windows stretched across the front wall, showing the endless black of space filled with distant stars. Jake had dreamed of this moment for 20 years. He was now the captain of humanity's greatest achievement. The USS Colossus was not just a ship. It was a statement to the universe that humans were ready to join the bigger picture. The ship was almost 3 kilometers long. It carried 50,000 people. Engineers, scientists, soldiers, doctors, and families all lived inside its metal walls. The Colossus had taken 15 years to build. Every nation on Earth had worked together to make it happen. "Captain on the bridge," announced Lieutenant Ryan Bell. He was the communications officer, a young man with bright eyes and quick fingers that danced over his control panels. Jake nodded to his crew. These people had trained for years to be here. Each one was the best at their job. They had left Earth 3 days ago, but it still felt like a dream. Commander Lisa Hayes stepped up to Jake. She was his second-in-command and tactical officer. Lisa had short brown hair and serious eyes that missed nothing. She carried a tablet with their mission details. "Sir, we are on course for the Kepler 442 system," Lisa said. "Chief Engineer Rodriguez reports all systems are running perfectly. Our fusion drives are working better than expected." Jake smiled. Tony Rodriguez was a genius with machines. If Tony said the engines were good, then they were better than good. The Colossus used new fusion technology that could push them faster than any ship humans had ever built. "How long until we reach the target system?" Jake asked. 18 days. "At current speed," Lisa replied. "Dr. Price wants to speak with you about the contact protocols." Dr. Amanda Price was their chief scientist for alien life. She had spent her whole career studying the possibility of meeting other intelligent species. Now that possibility was about to become real. The reason for their mission was simple but incredible. 5 years ago, Earth's deep space telescopes had detected something amazing in the Kepler 442 system. Radio signals that were clearly artificial. Patterns that could only come from intelligent minds. Humanity was not alone in the universe. The discovery had changed everything on Earth. Countries stopped fighting over small problems. Everyone realized they were part of something much bigger. The United Earth Government was formed in record time. Resources from every nation went into building the Colossus and preparing for this mission. Jake remembered the day he was chosen to command the mission. President Martinez had shaken his hand and said, "Captain Morrison, you will represent all of humanity. Make us proud." The weight of those words sat heavy on Jake's shoulders every day. "Captain," called Kelly Wright from her station. She was the navigation officer, a calm woman who could plot courses through space like others drew maps on paper. "We are clearing the outer edge of our solar system. Jupiter is falling behind us." Jake looked at the main screen. Jupiter looked small. Now, just a bright dot among many others. Earth was too far away to see. For the first time in human history, a large group of people was truly leaving home. "Set course for deep space," Jake ordered. "Begin the journey to Kepler 442. The bridge crew worked at their stations. Lights blinked on control panels. The soft hum of the ship's systems filled the air. Jake could feel the slight vibration through the floor as the massive fusion engines pushed them faster. Chief Medical Officer Patricia Stone entered the bridge. She was an older woman with gray hair and kind eyes. Patricia had volunteered for the mission even though it meant leaving her grandchildren behind. "Captain, the crew is settling in well," Patricia reported. "A few cases of space sickness, but nothing serious. The children in the family quarters are excited about the journey." Jake nodded. Having families on board was unusual for a military mission, but the Colossus was different. This was not just about war or exploration. This was about showing aliens what humanity really was. Humans were not just soldiers or scientists. They were parents, children, artists, and dreamers. "Sir," Ryan Bell called out, "I'm receiving a transmission from Earth. Admiral Carter wants to speak with you." "Put her through," Jake said. Admiral Susan Carter appeared on the main screen. She was sitting in her office at Space Command headquarters. Behind her, Jake could see the blue curve of Earth through a window. "Captain Morrison, you are now officially beyond the point of easy return," Admiral Carter said. "From here on, you and your crew represent humanity to whatever you might find out there. Remember your training. Remember your mission. But most importantly, remember who you are. Understood, Admiral?" "We will not let humanity down," Jake replied. The transmission ended. Jake looked around at his crew. These people had given up everything to be here. They had left families, homes, and careers behind. They believed in this mission as much as he did. "All stations, report status," Jake ordered. One by one, his officers called out their reports. Engines running perfectly. Life support systems working well. Weapons powered but not armed. Science equipment ready to record everything they might discover. Jake sat in his captain's chair. Through the bridge windows, he could see the stars getting brighter as they moved away from the sun's light. Somewhere among those stars waited the answers to humanity's oldest questions. Were they alone? What was their place in the universe? The USS Colossus flew through the darkness, carrying humanity's hopes and dreams toward an uncertain but exciting future. Jake Morrison closed his eyes for a moment and felt the weight of 50,000 lives under his command. When he opened them, again, he was ready for whatever they might find. 16 days had passed since the USS Colossus left Earth's solar system. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the ship's main observation deck, watching the stars grow brighter as they approached their destination. The Kepler 442 system was still 2 days away, but their long-range sensors were already picking up strange readings. "Captain, to the bridge," came Lisa Hayes' voice over the communication system. There was something in her tone that made Jake move quickly. When Jake reached the bridge, he found his crew staring at their screens with worried faces. Lisa met him at the center of the room, holding a tablet with sensor data. "Sir, we have a problem," Lisa said. "The radio signals we detected from Earth are gone. Our sensors are picking up something else instead." "Show me," Jake ordered. Main screen lit up with a three-dimensional map of the Kepler 442 system. Instead of the organized planets and space stations they expected to find, the display showed clouds of debris scattered throughout the system. Kelly Wright spoke from her navigation station. "Captain, I'm reading massive amounts of metal fragments, ship parts, station components, and things I can't identify. It looks like the remains of a huge battle." Jake felt his stomach drop. They had come so far to meet another intelligent species, and it looked like they might be too late. "Dr. Price to the bridge, emergency." Jake called over the ship's communication system. Dr. Amanda Price arrived within minutes, slightly out of breath from running through the ship's corridors. She looked at the sensor readings, and her face went pale. "This wasn't supposed to happen," she whispered. "The signals we detected were peaceful. Scientific broadcasts, cultural transmissions. These were not a warlike people." Tony Rodriguez joined them on the bridge. The chief engineer studied the debris patterns on the screen. "Captain, these aren't natural fragments. I'm seeing evidence of energy weapons, explosions, and hull breaches. Someone attacked this system." Security Chief Matt Turner stepped forward. He was a big man with scars on his hands from years of military service. "Sir, We need to consider that whoever did this might still be in the area. We should prepare for possible contact with hostile forces. Jake nodded. Raise alert level to yellow. All departments begin scanning for any signs of active ships or weapons platforms. The next few hours were tense as the Colossus moved deeper into the system. The crew worked quietly at their stations, processing the flood of sensor data. Every few minutes, someone would call out a new discovery, and each one painted a darker picture. Captain, called Professor Dan Cooper from the science station. He was Dr. Price's assistant, a thin man who specialized in studying alien artifacts. I'm analyzing the debris composition. These fragments come from at least 6 different types of technology. Multiple species were involved in this conflict. Jake looked at the scattered remains on the screen. Each piece of debris had once been part of someone's home, someone's ship, someone's life. Thousands, maybe millions of beings had died here. Any idea how long ago this happened? Jake asked. Doc Patricia Stone had come to the bridge to hear the reports. As the ship's doctor, she understood death better than most. Based on the radiation decay patterns, I'd estimate this battle occurred within the last 6 months. The debris field is still expanding outward from multiple explosion points. 6 months. Jake tried to imagine what could have caused such destruction in such a short time. Back on Earth, the largest wars took years to fight. Here, an entire civilization seemed to have been wiped out in weeks or days. Sir, Ryan Bell called from communications. I'm picking up faint signals from some of the larger debris pieces. They appear to be automated distress beacons, but the power sources are almost dead. Can you translate any of the messages? Jake asked. Ryan worked at his station for several minutes. The universal translation matrix is having trouble, but I'm getting fragments. Words like help, attacked, and not enough time. Captain, these people were calling for aid when they died. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Somewhere out there, intelligent beings had faced their final moments, knowing that help would not come in time. Dr. Price broke the silence. We need to recover some of these artifacts. If we can study their technology, we might learn what happened. Here, we might also learn about the species that lived in this system. Jake considered the risks. Matt, what's your assessment of the security situation? Security Chief Turner studied his tactical displays. The debris field provides good cover for our ship, but it also means we can't see everything around us. If hostile forces are still in the area, they could hide among the wreckage just as easily as we can. Kelly, plot us a course through the debris field, Jake ordered. Stay close to the larger pieces for cover, but keep us moving. I don't want to be a sitting target. Navigation Officer Wright's fingers danced over her controls. Course plotted, Captain. It will take us 6 hours to reach the center of the system where the heaviest debris is concentrated. As the Colossus began moving through the field of wreckage, Jake watched the pieces drift past their windows. Some fragments were huge, the size of city blocks. Others were small personal items that had once belonged to living beings. Captain, Dr. Price said quietly, we're looking at the death of an entire civilization. Multiple civilizations, actually. This represents millions of years of development, art, science, and culture, all destroyed in a matter of months. Jake understood the weight of her words. Humanity had always wondered what would happen when they met alien life. They had imagined many scenarios, but none quite like this. Instead of first contact with a living culture, they were archaeologists studying the remains of the dead. Sir, Professor Cooper called out, I'm detecting something unusual among the debris. There's a cluster of objects that don't match the rest of the wreckage. They appear to be intact structures, not battle damage. The main screen focused on the area Cooper had identified. Among the twisted metal and scattered fragments, there were several large objects that looked different. They were geometric, almost artistic in their design. Those look like monuments, Patricia Stone observed, or perhaps data storage facilities. Jake made his decision. Lisa, prepare a shuttle team. We're going to investigate those structures. If they contain information about what happened here, we need to know. Commander Hayes nodded. I'll lead the team myself, sir. No, Jake said firmly. I'm going personally. If we're about to learn the truth about what destroyed these civilizations, the captain of humanity's first deep space mission should be there to witness it. As the shuttle bay prepared for launch, Jake looked out at the debris field one more time. Somewhere in this graveyard of worlds lay the answers they needed, but he couldn't shake the feeling that those answers would change everything about humanity's future among the stars. The USS Colossus continued its slow journey through the remains of the dead, carrying 50,000 humans toward a truth that none of them were prepared to face. Captain Jake Morrison floated inside the shuttle as it approached the strange geometric structures. Through the small window, he could see the objects more clearly now. They were perfect spheres, each one about the size of a football stadium, made from materials that seemed to absorb and reflect light in impossible ways. Shuttle team to Colossus. Jake spoke into his helmet radio. We're approaching the target structures. No signs of damage or weapon impacts. These definitely weren't part of the battle. Lisa Hayes' voice crackled back from the ship. Copy that, Captain. Our sensors show the structures are getting off low-level energy readings. Be careful. Jake's shuttle team included Professor Cooper, Security Chief Turner, and Specialist Laura Adams, a young linguist who had trained in first contact protocols. They had all studied for years to prepare for meeting alien life, but none of them had expected their first encounter to be in a graveyard dot as their shuttle got closer. Jake could see that the spheres were covered in patterns, lines and shapes, moved across their surfaces like slow lightning. The patterns seemed to respond to their approach, growing brighter and more complex. Professor, are you recording this? Jake asked. Cooper was pressed against his window, his tablet in hand. Every second, Captain, these patterns aren't random. They're mathematical sequences. Someone or something is trying to communicate with us. Suddenly, the shuttle's instruments went wild. Lights flashed on every control panel. The radio filled with static. Then, just as quickly, everything went quiet. Shuttle team, report your status, came Lisa's urgent voice from the Colossus. We're fine, Jake replied. But something just scanned. U.S. Full spectrum analysis, more detailed than anything we can do. That was when they saw it. Space itself seemed to bend and twist about 10 kilometers away. The stars stretched into lines, then snapped back to points. Where empty space had been a moment before, a massive ship appeared. It was unlike anything humans had ever imagined. The vessel was shaped like a perfect sphere, but it was enormous. Jake estimated it was at least a kilometer across. Its surface was covered in the same flowing patterns they had seen on the smaller structures, but these moved faster and blazed with brilliant colors. Captain, Turner said quietly, that ship is bigger than some of Earth's cities. Jake's hands shook as he activated his radio. Colossus, we have contact. Repeat, we have contact with an unknown vessel. It just appeared out of nowhere. The response from his ship was immediate. Captain, our sensors went crazy about 30 seconds ago. Are you seeing what we're seeing? Before Jake could answer, his shuttle's radio filled with sound. Not words, but pure mathematics. Numbers and equations flowed through the speakers in perfect harmony. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Laura, please tell me you can make sense of this, Jake said. Specialist Adams was working frantically with her translation equipment. Sir, it's not a language in any traditional sense. They're using mathematical concepts as a form of communication. basic principles that any intelligent species would understand. The mathematical symphony continued for several minutes. Jake found himself hypnotized by the patterns of sound. Even without understanding the meaning, he could sense intelligence. Behind the transmission, vast, ancient intelligence. Then, suddenly, the sounds changed. The alien ship was playing back Earth's own radio signals. Music, news broadcasts, and scientific data that humanity had been sending into space for decades. "They've been listening to us," Cooper whispered. "For years, maybe decades, they've been studying our transmissions." The alien ship began to move closer to Jake's shuttle. As it approached, Jake could see that its surface wasn't solid. Layers of energy and matter shifted and flowed like liquid metal. It was technology beyond anything humans had dreamed possible. "Captain Morrison," came a new voice over the radio. It spoke perfect English, but there was something strange about it. The words came too precisely, as if each one was carefully chosen from a dictionary. Jake's heart nearly stopped. He looked around at his team. Everyone was staring at the radio in shock. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth vessel Colossus. Who am I speaking with?" "We are the Vanguard. We have observed your species for many rotations of your world around its star. You may call this one first speaker, as names in your language are difficult for us to manage." Jake tried to keep his voice steady. "First speaker, we came to this system following radio signals. We hoped to make peaceful contact with the civilization that lived here. Instead, we found only destruction. Yes, the Harmony Coalition existed. In this place, 12 species worked together in peace for many thousands of your years. They were destroyed by those who choose conquest over cooperation. The alien ship moved even closer. Jake could now see details on its surface. Sections that might have been weapons, others that looked like sensor arrays, and areas that seemed to bend space around them. Who destroyed them? Jake asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. They call themselves the Dominion. They consume worlds and enslave species. The Harmony Coalition was destroyed because they refused to surrender their freedom. Jake felt cold despite his heated suit. Are they still in this area? No. The Dominion moves like a wave across the galaxy, destroying and absorbing. They have moved on to other targets. But they will return to this region of space within 10 rotations of your world. Your home system lies in their projected path. The words hit Jake like a physical blow. Earth was in danger. Humanity had just learned they weren't alone in the universe, and now they faced the possibility of extinction. "Why are you telling us this?" Jake asked. "Because we have watched your species grow. We have seen your wars and your peace. We have observed your art and your science. Humanity shows potential for greatness, but also for destruction. We must know which path you will choose." Professor Cooper leaned forward. "You said you've been watching us. For how long?" "Since your species first looked up at the stars and wondered if others lived among them. We have been the silent watchers, recording your progress, waiting to see if you would develop wisdom along with your power." Jake understood. This was a test. Everything about their mission, their discovery of the debris field, even this conversation was part of some vast evaluation. "What kind of choice are you asking us to make?" Jake asked. "The same choice faced by the Harmony Coalition. Join with others in defense against the darkness, or face the storm alone. But know this, Captain Morrison, the choice your species makes will determine not only your survival, but your place in the greater community of intelligent life." The alien ship began to change. Its surface patterns shifted to show images. Jake saw other worlds, other species, all working together. Then the images changed to show destruction, planets burning, civilizations falling. "We offer knowledge and alliance to those who prove worthy." We offer nothing to those who choose the path of conquest or isolation. Your species stands at a crossroads. Captain, the next words you speak may determine the future of every human who will ever live." Jake looked at his team. Turner's hand rested on his weapon, but his eyes showed understanding that no human weapon could threaten this massive ship. Cooper was recording everything, his tablet capturing humanity's first conversation with alien intelligence. Laura was still working on translations, trying to understand nuances in the alien speech. The weight of 50,000 lives on the Chumdi Colossus pressed down on Jake's shoulders. Beyond that, the weight of every human on Earth. The decision he made in the next few minutes could save or doom his entire species. "First speaker," Jake said carefully, "humanity needs time to consider your offer. We also need to understand exactly what alliance with the Vanguard would mean for our people. Time is a luxury that grows short, Captain Morrison. But wisdom requires contemplation. Return to your great ship. We will follow and provide the information you require to make this choice. But remember, the Dominion's wave approaches, and it stops for no one." The alien ship began to fade, not moving away, but simply becoming less visible, as if it was stepping slightly outside normal space. Jake's shuttle turned back toward the Colossus. As they flew through the debris field, he looked at the remains of the Harmony Coalition. 12 species, working together in peace for thousands of years, all destroyed because they had faced the coming darkness alone. The choice ahead would define humanity's future among the stars. The USS Colossus had never seen anything like the emergency meeting taking place in its main conference room. Captain Jake Morrison sat at the head of a table surrounded by his senior officers, while on the main screen, Admiral Carter joined them from Earth through quantum communication. The journey time for messages between Earth and their location was now measured in hours, making real-time conversation impossible except through their most advanced technology. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," Admiral Carter said, her image flickering slightly due to the vast distance. "You've made contact with an alien species that has been watching humanity for decades, and they're telling us that a hostile empire is heading toward Earth?" "That's correct, Admiral," Jake replied. "The Vanguard claim that the Dominion will reach our region of space within 10 years. They've offered us an alliance, but we don't yet know what the terms would be." Dr. Price leaned forward. "Admiral, the evidence supports their claims. The debris field we're in represents the complete destruction of 12 different civilizations. The weapon signatures suggest technology far beyond anything we currently possess." First speaker's voice came through the ship's communication system. The alien had been monitoring their discussion, as agreed. "Admiral Carter of Earth's military forces, this one greets you across the vast distances of space." Admiral Carter straightened in her chair. Even through the screen, Jake could see she was trying to project strength and confidence. "First speaker, I'm honored to make your acquaintance. Can you tell us more about this Dominion threat?" The main screen split to show both Admiral Carter and a visual representation of the galaxy. Points of light began moving across the star map, showing the Dominion's expansion over the past century. The Dominion began as a single species that discovered how to drain the life force from other worlds, First speaker explained. They use this stolen energy to power their war machines and extend their own lives. Over time, they have absorbed hundreds of species, forcing them to serve as slaves or soldiers. Security Chief Turner studied the star map. "How many ships are we talking about? What size of fleet?" "Their main battle fleet contains more than 10,000 vessels, each one larger than your Colossus. But size is not their greatest weapon. The Dominion has learned to corrupt other species, turning them against their own neighbors. They offer power to those who serve them, and destruction to those who resist." Jake felt sick. 10,000 ships, each larger than humanity's greatest achievement. It seemed impossible. What about the Vanguard? Admiral Carter asked. How many ships do you have? We are fewer in number, but greater in individual power. Our vessels can destroy entire Dominion fleets, but we cannot be everywhere at once. This is why we seek alliance with younger species. Together, we can create a network of defense that covers more space than any single empire can control. Professor Cooper had been quietly studying data on his tablet. First speaker, I'm analyzing the technology fragments from the debris field. Some of these materials show properties that our physics says should be impossible. Are you willing to share such advanced technology with humanity? Knowledge shared freely becomes wisdom. Knowledge hoarded becomes weakness. Yes, we offer access to technologies that will advance your species by centuries. But such gifts come with responsibilities. Jake didn't like the sound of that. What kind of responsibilities? Species that join the Vanguard must follow the code of harmony. No member species may attack another without provocation. Resources must be shared fairly among all members. Most importantly, no member may use Vanguard technology to conquer or enslave others. Commander Hayes spoke up. That sounds reasonable. What's the catch? The code is enforced absolutely. Species that violate it are expelled from the Alliance and stripped of all advanced technology. 3 violations in your galaxy's history have resulted in complete technological reversion. Entire civilizations return to their most primitive state. The conference room fell silent. Jake could see the concern on everyone's faces. The Vanguard were offering salvation, but at the cost of humanity's complete independence. Admiral, Jake said, I recommend we request more detailed information before making any decisions. We need to understand exactly what we would be agreeing. T.O. Admiral Carter nodded. Agreed. First speaker, would you be willing to provide us with detailed records of the Code of Harmony and examples of how it has been applied to other species? This information will be provided, but understand that time grows short. Our long-range sensors detect Dominion advance scouts already probing the outer regions of this galaxy sector. Their main fleet follows behind by less than 8 of your years. 8 years. Jake had thought they had 10 years to prepare. The timeline was getting shorter. Chief Engineer Rodriguez had been unusually quiet during the meeting. Now he cleared his throat. First speaker, I've been analyzing the energy signatures from your ship. The power output is unlike anything we've ever seen. Could you explain how your technology works? Your species has discovered the power of the atom. We have learned to harness the power of space itself. Reality can be shaped by those who understand its true nature. But such knowledge requires great wisdom to use safely. Dr. Price leaned forward eagerly. Are you talking about manipulating space-time? Creating artificial gravity fields? Faster than light travel? All of these and more. But remember, child of Earth, power without wisdom has destroyed more species than the Dominion ever could. We have seen civilizations tear themselves apart when they gained access to forces they could not control. Jake was beginning to understand the full scope of what they were being offered. Technology that could make humanity a major power in the galaxy, but also technology that could destroy them if they weren't ready for it. How long would it take for humanity to receive this technology? Jake asked. The transfer would be gradual, over many years. First, we would establish a joint research station in your outer system. Your scientists would work alongside our technical specialists to ensure proper understanding. As your species demonstrates wisdom and responsibility, more advanced knowledge would be shared. Admiral Carter looked thoughtful. And if we decline your offer, what happens then? You face the Dominion alone. Your current technology level suggests you would resist for perhaps 1 of your years before complete defeat. Your species would be enslaved, your worlds drained of life, your culture absorbed into the Dominion's collective. The stark choice was clear. Accept the Vanguard's terms and survive as a junior member of their alliance, or face certain destruction, maintaining their independence. Jake looked around the conference room. These people had dedicated their lives to serving humanity. Now they faced a decision that would affect every human who would ever live. Admiral, I request permission to continue negotiations, Jake said. But I also recommend we begin preparing Earth's defenses immediately. Whether we accept the Vanguard's offer or not, humanity needs to be ready for what's coming. Admiral Carter nodded. Agreed. Captain Morrison, you have full authority to continue diplomatic contact. I'll brief the CIA, President, and the United Earth Council. This decision will ultimately need to be made by all of humanity, not just the military. First speaker's voice filled the room again. Wisdom speaks through your words, Admiral Carter. The choice must be made by all, for all will live with the consequences. We will remain in this system for 7 more of your days. After that, we must return to our own preparations for the coming storm. As the meeting ended, Jake remained in his chair, staring at the star map still displayed on the screen. Somewhere out there, a massive fleet was heading toward Earth. In 8 years, maybe less, humanity would face its greatest challenge. The question was no longer whether they would survive, but what they would become in the process of survival. 7 days had passed since the ultimatum. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Colossus, watching the Vanguard ship through the main viewing screen. The massive alien vessel hung motionless in space, waiting for humanity's answer to a question that would determine the fate of billions. The past week had been the most intense in human history. Every government on Earth had participated in emergency sessions. Scientists, philosophers, religious leaders, and ordinary citizens had all been asked for their opinions. The debate had been fierce, but in the end, humanity had reached a decision. Captain, Ryan Bell called from his communication station, I'm receiving the final transmission from Earth. Admiral Carter is ready to deliver humanity's answer. Jake nodded. Put her through. Admiral Carter appeared on the screen, but she wasn't alone. Behind her stood President Martinez and representatives from every major nation on Earth. The weight of their decision showed on every face. Captain Morrison, Admiral Carter began, after extensive deliberation, the people of Earth have reached a consensus. We accept the Vanguard's offer of alliance, but with modifications that preserve humanity's essential independence. Jake felt relief and worry at the same time. They had chosen survival, but what would be the cost? First speaker, Jake called out. Humanity is ready to present our answer. The alien's voice filled the bridge immediately. We listen with great interest. Captain Morrison. Admiral Carter stepped forward. First speaker, humanity accepts alliance with the Vanguard under the following terms. We will accept defensive technology and share intelligence about the Dominion threat. We will establish joint research facilities and follow the Code of Harmony in our dealings with other species. Jake could hear the "but" coming in the Admiral's voice. However, Admiral Carter continued, humanity must retain the right to govern itself according to our own laws and customs. We will not accept Vanguard oversight of internal human affairs. The technology sharing must be mutual, with human innovations also contributing to the alliance. And most importantly, humanity reserves the right to withdraw from the alliance if we believe the terms have become harmful to our species. The bridge fell silent. Jake held his breath, waiting for first speaker's response. Through the viewing screen, he could see the patterns on the Vanguard ship's surface shifting and changing, as if the alien was thinking. Your terms are unusual, first speaker finally said. Most species that join the Vanguard seek the security of complete integration. You ask for partnership, not protection. That's correct, Admiral Carter replied. Humanity has always valued independence and self-determination. We're willing to work with others, but we won't surrender our freedom to anyone, even our allies. Jake waited, his hands gripping the arms of his captain's chair. Everything depended on the next few words. Your proposal shows wisdom and strength, first speaker said. The Vanguard has never granted such terms to a newly contacted species. But your negotiation demonstrates the qualities we hope to find in humanity. We accept your modified alliance. The bridge crew let out a collective sigh of relief. Jake felt a weight lift from his shoulders, but he knew their real challenges were just beginning. The Joint Research Station will be established at the edge of your solar system within one of your years, first speaker continued. Vanguard technical specialists will work with your scientists to develop defensive systems suitable for human technology levels. In return, we will study your innovative approaches to problem solving. Dr. Price leaned forward. What kind of defensive systems are we talking about? Energy shields that can protect entire planets. Weapons that can destroy Dominion ships without resorting to planet-killing force. Most importantly, early warning. Systems that will detect the Dominion's approach years before they arrive. Commander Hayes had a tactical question. How will we coordinate our defenses with other Vanguard members? A communication network will be established linking all allied species. When the Dominion attacks any member world, all others will be instantly alerted. Reinforcements can be dispatched through space-folding technology that will reduce travel time from years to days. Jake was beginning to understand the scope of what they were joining. This wasn't just an alliance. It was a galaxy-spanning civilization dedicated to mutual defense. First speaker, Jake said, there's something I need to ask. Why did you choose this method of contact? Why not approach Earth directly instead of letting us discover the debris field? Because we needed to see how your species would react to evidence of galactic warfare. Many species panic when confronted with such destruction. Others become aggressive, seeking to attack first before being attacked. Humanity showed curiosity, caution, and respect for the dead. These are the qualities needed to survive in a dangerous galaxy. Professor Cooper had been studying his tablet throughout the conversation. First speaker, I've been analyzing the debris field data. Some of the destroyed ships show signs of Vanguard technology. Did you lose allies in this battle? The pause. Before the answer told Jake, this was a sensitive topic. Yes, 3 Vanguard vessels fought alongside the Harmony Coalition in their final battle. We lost good friends that day, beings who had lived for thousands of your years. Their sacrifice showed us that the Dominion had grown stronger than we anticipated. This is why we now seek alliance with species like humanity. We cannot face this threat alone. The admission hung heavy in the air. Even these powerful aliens had suffered losses against the Dominion. Jake realized that humanity wasn't just joining an alliance. They were joining a war that had already claimed countless lives. How many other species are currently part of the Vanguard? Admiral Carter asked. 47 species across this galaxy sector. Some are ancient, like ourselves. Others are young, having joined within the last few centuries. Each brings unique strengths to our collective defense. Security Chief Turner spoke up. What can humanity contribute that these other species cannot? Your adaptability is remarkable. Most species develop along predictable lines once they achieve. Spaceflight. Humans continue to surprise us with innovative solutions to complex problems. Your literature speaks of thinking outside the box. This perspective may prove crucial in finding new ways to counter Dominion tactics. Jake felt a surge of pride. Humanity was being invited to join this alliance, not just as another species, to be protected, but as valuable contributors to the common defense. There is one more thing we must discuss. First speaker continued. The establishment of our research station will require a Vanguard representative to remain permanently in your solar system. This individual will serve as liaison between our species and help coordinate technology transfers. Admiral Carter looked concerned. What form will this representative take? The individual will use a biological form similar to your own to ease communication and cultural understanding. They will be, in essence, an alien living among humans for an extended period. Jake thought about the implications. Humanity would have its first permanent alien resident. The cultural and political challenges would be immense. Admiral, Jake said, I volunteer the Colossus to serve as escort when the Vanguard representative arrives. Our crew has already made first contact. We're the logical choice to help with the integration process. Admiral Carter nodded. Agreed. Captain Morrison, you and your crew will return to Earth to help prepare for our new alliance. The knowledge and experience you've gained will be invaluable. Chief Medical Officer Patricia Stone had been quiet throughout the discussion, but now she spoke up. First speaker, will there be any biological compatibility issues with extended contact between our species? None. The Vanguard representative will be equipped with medical knowledge that will benefit both species. In fact, one of the technologies we will share early is advanced medical treatment that can extend human lifespans and eliminate most diseases. Jake saw the amazement on Patricia's face. The medical implications alone could transform human civilization. When do we begin the journey home? Jake asked Admiral Carter. Immediately. Earth needs to start preparing and having the Colossus back. In our solar system, we'll help reassure people that we're taking the Dominion threat seriously. First speaker's voice carried what almost sounded like warmth. Captain Morrison, your species has chosen wisely. The path ahead will not be easy, but together we will face whatever comes. The Dominion has never encountered resistance like what we will build. As the communication with Earth ended, Jake looked around at his crew. They had left Earth, hoping to make peaceful first contact. Instead, they had discovered that their world was in danger and had helped negotiate humanity's entry into a galactic war. All stations, prepare for departure, Jake ordered. Set course for Earth. The USS Colossus began turning away from the debris field. Through the viewing screen, Jake watched the Vanguard ship slowly fade from sight, not moving away, but simply stepping back into whatever dimension it had come from as they left the Kepler 442. System behind, Jake thought about what awaited them at home. Humanity would have to build new defenses, learn new technologies, and prepare for a war unlike anything they had ever imagined. But they wouldn't face it alone. For the first time in human history, Earth had allies among the stars. The journey home took 18 days, but it